And we've talked about this a little bit last time. This is our second session. We're working through creating a regenerative business model. This is Regenerative Revolution because we're coming up with ways to regenerate the earth and communities and the economy and everything. It's regenerative all around. So we're designing stuff that does that. And I am testing a new way of streaming using this Restream. So it looks like it's working to Twitch. Hello, Twitch people. I don't know if it's working to Facebook, though. It says it's connected. It says everything's connected. So hopefully y'all are out there. Let us know. Say hi. There's chat room. Hopefully I can see you. I've got stuff open. We're seeing if this works. But yeah, let's go ahead and do a check-in. Check in, Bridget. Let us know how you doing.
Hello.
Yeah.
Should I answer a particular question or just?
How are you doing?
I am doing pretty good. I'm feeling a little tired, but overall good. We went out to the garden for a little bit today, which felt very nourishing and good. Jacki made us some good plant food for the plants, and we sprayed it on the plants. How are you doing, Jacki?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm not seeing anything on Facebook or YouTube as of yet, but that's okay. We started out on Twitch, so we'll just stick with Twitch. If that's all that's working, that's fine. So, yeah. Next time, we'll figure it all out. But anyway, all right, let's just get going here. So, today, we're talking about your purpose and vision, I believe. So we're working through this workbook. And last time we had a little exploratory session. And today we're talking about purpose and vision. So I'm going to ask some questions. We're just going to have a little conversation. Sound good? Great. And if there are people in the audience, you can text. I know I can definitely see the Twitch chat room. I might be able to see if you're somewhere else. We'll see. Okay. So first question, really instructions to brainstorm all of the outcomes that you would like to create. So like let's list what you want to get from this, what you want to create.
From our work together or from the project as a whole?
Let's see. The project, let's focus kind of on the food cooperative project, although if you want to throw some things in there that you feel are connected, you can just make a big list.
Okay. Yeah, because I just feel like it's a lot. Ultimately, I want a lot of things to happen over a lot of years. So from this process, I would like to get a more explicit business plan written down and get to a place where I'm ready to incorporate and get all the official things. And I'd also really love to see us, get to a more interactive place where we're able to build some buzz around it, because I want the Oklahoma Community Food Network to be something that people throughout the area are able to take ownership of and pride in. And I would like to make sure we have the infrastructure that we need for local food, both in distribution, delivery, growing, and access. Should I speak a little bit more about what the project is, or do you want to do a recap or no?
Yeah. Well, I mean, with this question, that should answer that question. So what are you wanting to make?
Yeah. So initially a website that would be a way to organize information
Mhm.
about where to get food and where you might plug in to grow food. And then a way to organize information for skill sharing and resources for growers. And in its next phase, a distribution network of food. So a delivery system that could be an alternative to existing distributors who don't seem to take the care with local food that is required and are used to distributing food in excess and expecting to lose a certain amount of it, which for a small farmer means a lot more than to a big company that has a whole warehouse of things. And I would want that distribution network to be cooperatively owned by the growers who utilize it. And then in its final form, a network of cooperatively owned grocery stores throughout the state of Oklahoma that are connected through this distribution system and are also cooperatively owned. I see that. I would love for them to be cooperatively owned by the workers, but I also think we'll probably have different structures based on what the community wants. You could have a community and worker owned, or just like buyers owned, or like there are a lot of different styles of cooperatives. But I would like to see that network built up and held by the community and meeting the needs of the community for food security and food sovereignty.
Yeah. Security and food sovereignty. Awesome. Great. All right. Yeah, that's a pretty good list. That's about what I was looking for. I feel like we might be able to get some more specifics, but I don't know. I think that's good for now. All right. So what does your organization do in concrete terms is the next question. And so I guess the major like way to put this would be like, what are the key activities of the organization? What are the most important activities that would be value creating?
Mm-hmm. I think primarily organizing information about local food. Connecting people within our local food infrastructure. Providing and organizing resources for growers, for certifications, for grants, for like tool sharing or skill sharing, or other ways that like those growers might be able to cooperate together.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the website. And then the distribution system that would provide a conscious distribution system that is mindful of waste, is mindful of
Yeah. So just organizing distribution, like the actual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like whether it's
organizing it and also like providing it in a way that is actually needed by small farmers. Because I don't see that available.
Mm-hmm.
I have not witnessed that being available in this area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. Great. Okay.
And then I mean, we can just go with those two. It
seems like a good start. I mean, eventually the cooperative grocery store, but yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So next would be, hold up just a second. Let me get a little space at the bottom so I can scroll up far enough. Okay. So in like the how your enterprise operates, and I'm talking about like the values that you hold. Like, what are 3 to 5 of the core values and standards that you would use to like make your organization, function in a way that it delivers those values consistently?
Mm-hmm. Building an equitable system.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is also unlearning and deconstructing internally the oppressive systems that we just operate in daily. I think that would also call for us to provide a living wage for everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
Would want it to be sustainable or regenerative.
Like one more, squeeze out one more.
Would want it to, I would say serve the needs of the community.
Mm-hmm. Is there a way that you can put
and I
that?
feel like then if we like run into, I mean, I feel like if we ever came to a point where we realized we weren't meeting the needs of the community, we would realize that something would need to change. Either something would need to be added or taken away or changed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Service, so, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
trying to put it in like the language of like a value or a standard.
Yeah.
Like being of service, serving the community. I don't know. I feel like there's maybe another way.
No, but like that's not really. I guess serving isn't really the word I'm looking for, because I feel like I want the work that we're doing to meet the needs of the community.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like also goes into like being effective and having healthy communication.
Mm-hmm.
And also being mindful of like different needs, because depending on where you are in Oklahoma, your needs might look different, or your community might look different. And so like I want us to also be able to like consistently be able to adapt based on feedback, based on community relationships, and to evolve. Like welcoming pushback and welcoming feedback. I feel like I'm not sure how to capture it into a phrase yet, but it's like wanting to sustain a healthy relationship and communication with all communities in Oklahoma.
Healthy relationship. Okay, I like that too. Yeah. Okay, I'll think about it more, and we'll come up with something. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So if we were going to narrow it down to one value, and here, the word value, you could think of it in that way of like a value, like being equitable or regenerative, or you could think of it as like your value proposition, like the value that you're delivering, like, food distribution. Whatever the most important value is that you're creating, like, how would you describe that?
I think it's funny because like the first thing that came to my mind was like a community food network, but that's just like the name. I feel like it's like, but when I think about community food, it already encompasses all of these things. If it's truly like a community-based food system, then it is sustainable, it is regenerative, it is equitable, and it maintains healthy relationships. If it would be possible for us to like do it in a phrase like that, or I can try to like choose one of those three that we like came up with at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know. There's what's coming up for me is something around access, since we're talking about food sovereignty. Something about like access to, access to not just food, but access to the means to grow food, access to food production, access to food production. Does that make sense? Like, it's not just access to a grocery store, it's access to where that food came from. Whether that's by knowing the farmers, definitely. Being able to contact the farmers, being able to,
or being a grower yourself,
contribute. Yeah, exactly. And being able to flow between those, like going from being a consumer to like working in a community garden, having that easy connection. And then the other way too, like the growers have that connection to the infrastructure that they need. Access to the means to grow food. Was there a different way that I put it originally? I forgot. Access to the means to grow food. The means to grow food. Is that what I said originally? Okay, I wasn't sure if I changed it. Okay. I get lost in words sometimes. It happens. Okay, access to the means to grow food. So expanding on that idea, let's throw out some more words that would describe, what that means. Like we just said some things about that, like access to land. Like, what are some other things that words and phrases that describe that?
Yeah, access to land, access to knowledge, access to resources, whether those are tillers or hoop houses or other like ways of like setting your crops up to survive in Oklahoma weather that I haven't learned yet. Like it can be a hard place to grow. We can grow. And I think having access to more resources about like what people can like specifically grow here.
Words and phrases that describe. I mean, what do people get out of having the access to the means to grow food? What's in it for them? What are some words that might describe the value that they're receiving, like security?
I mean, I feel like sovereignty, ideally, nourishment, ideally, community, connection, I feel like creativity too. Like I think growing does inspire, like, growers have to be very innovative and creative to figure out what's going to work and like learn how to, go along with things. And I feel like that is an outlet I don't always get in my current like life. I don't know. I try to consciously like make time for creativity for myself because I have realized often that I'm like not getting enough time to be creative and innovative, and that's a muscle I want to be able to exercise. And I think that food work, whether it's like connecting to other people who like want to do this work and like doing what we're doing right now and just like talking about it, or like actually growing the food or actually distributing the food, I do think gives us space to utilize a lot of those muscles that we aren't able to use maybe in other professions or jobs or spaces. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I like that. Creativity. How about like connection to other people, connection to the land, and your food,
and to like other people before us too, like to our ancestors as well, to history. Like I've personally learned a lot of history through food that I like didn't know before, and it can also be very healing too.
Healing, I like that. Good. Yeah, we're getting some good words. Awesome. Cool. And we are streaming on Facebook. It is working. Still not sure about YouTube, but it's working on Facebook. Hi, Facebook.
Hello, Facebook.
I don't know if anyone's watching, but we're live.
Maybe they will.
Cool. Okay, so healing, connection, security, sovereignty, creativity, access. Those are all good words. Okay, so what I was trying to get to was a purpose statement. If we could come up with a very short purpose statement. So to me, a purpose statement is something that in one very, sorry, there's a fly like flying into my face repeatedly. It's lovely. It's a very short statement because it's something that you want to actually be able to use like on a daily basis. Often people will write a mission statement, like Natural Grocers mission statement is like 3 paragraphs long. And it's like up on the wall somewhere. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I read it once and it was like, okay, whatever, world-class customer service. Okay, we get it. And like, but it was like 3 paragraphs of stuff. And like, yeah, people don't pay attention to that. They definitely don't use it on a daily basis. So like if you had it in a punchy kind of statement, like a slogan that you could just like repeat, and as a leader, you would like use it in speeches or use it in conversation like 10 times a day, then people all know that that's what we're doing, and you can kind of rally people around it. It's like one of those things that, like you want to repeat it until people get sick of it because, you want people to feel that that's like the core of what you're doing, if that's what makes sense. So if you came up with a purpose statement for this, what might it be?
One thing I'm thinking is connecting, nourishing, and empowering all Oklahomans through food.
Ooh, I like that. And I'm like capitalizing all of these words because they're big words. Connecting, nourishing, empowering Oklahomans through food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like 5 big words. And yeah, I was shooting for 8 or less. So I like that. You nailed it on the first try.
Nice.
Connecting, nourishing, and empowering all Oklahomans through food. Okay, well, that was quick. Okay, so next, okay, if you fulfilled that purpose, what would change in a measurable way? What would you be able to measure as an outcome of doing
that? I suppose food security, for one.
How would you measure that? What are the metrics?
I mean, I wouldn't really try to differ from like the way it's currently measured through like food banks and such in Oklahoma. So I don't know all the details of how they do it, but I do think that it's like mapping out like access to grocery stores, and what kind of food is like stocked in those grocery stores. Like in Northeast Oklahoma City, when the Smart Saver closed, there was a lot of press because it was like the last grocery store, but also I would say that wasn't even a full service grocery store. And it's also like that's a categorization I see a lot when in discussing food security is a full service grocery store. That like should include like a deli and produce and X, Y, and Z.
So not a dollar store or a
so like
gas station.
There is still like a Dollar Tree on the east side that a lot of people utilize because that's one of the only places you can get food in the area, but they don't have produce. So there isn't a place where people could like walk to get produce, except for the farmers markets, the Northeast Oklahoma City farmers market, the exotic culture movement market. And I feel like they're just, I mean, a lot of people from the community are, really working for that particular purpose. So
and I imagine the ability to afford food is also a measurement in food security. And I guess ability to obtain, which might, having a grocery store within walking distance. But if you also have a farmer's market or a delivery service, that would factor into the equation.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. You said connecting, nourishing, and empowering. I mean, all 3 of those probably have various metrics you could use to connect. So, or to measure those. What are they?
I mean, measuring connecting, I think, could be through both like the number of people in our network who are like accessing the website, and that's something that we could like measure and map out. And then also like if we were to measure like any connections we made between farmers, for like they connected through our website and started this project together, or this farmer did a Skillshare on like this practice that they have on their farm, and then like this many people watched it, or shared it, or things like that. It's also like our social media too would be another way to measure that, in addition to the website.
Social media engagement. Cool. Yep. Well, eventually we'll probably have like live events as well. There could be like meetings, farmers markets, right? Attendance at events.
And then go ahead.
I was just writing attendance at events, and then you might have like I don't know if you'll have like a email list or a particular place where people can discuss things. Would that be on the website, you think, or would you have another platform for that?
I feel like an email list would be something that I would want to try to utilize. I would want to try to make it emails that people would want.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also I would really want to try to set it up to be an automated service, because I've sent a lot of emails in my time and typed a lot of things out, and I feel like I don't know, even just like buying food from like Wagon Creek Creamery, I feel like however they set up their emails has been excellent. I found their emails very, very helpful and interactive, and I feel like I get them when I need them to get me where I need to be. So yeah, wanting to have emails, but be conscious of engagement in them and like what is needed, what information is needed.
Yeah. And then I was also thinking like some sort of discussion platform, whether that's a Facebook group or you have a separate app or something.
I would love to have an app. That is another aspect of it to consider. I would really want the website to be developed into an app as well. And I would want to have like a forum. So if we could have a forum like on the website or as part of the app, I feel like that would be a really amazing way to get traffic up on the website as well. And make it really like a healthy network.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. And then nourishing. How do you know people are nourished?
I think first, like looking at ways that we were able to connect people to food, whether that's like seeing that someone accessed the farmer's website through our website and then got food there. Looking at education projects and like how that might lead to new growers, and like trying to keep and collect that information. I think that could be a good way to like continue to cultivate that community relationship, is do a lot of like interactive surveys as much as possible, like plan out like a certain number a year or whatnot to see like how people are utilizing the services, and then trying to address that feedback in the way that we like work to do all of the things that the network is supposed to do. Adapt. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And then empowering. How would you measure how empowered people are?
I feel like it could be a little harder, but I mean, again, I think that making space for feedback could be a good way to do that. With people sharing their stories, I feel like again it could be maybe like an annual thing or like a regular thing that like is within the culture of the organization to like highlight a young leader or highlight a like farmer of the year, or have people like share their stories about like someone who inspired them in the network, or something that inspired them about the network, something that empowered them to grow their own food or teach someone else to grow their own food, or access food and X, Y, or Z.
Yeah. So how much people engage in feedback and how much people share stories could be easily measurable. And also, I mean, how many people are making a living growing food, right? Or just growing their own food. So how many people start their own gardens? So you could, ask that in surveys, but also like measure how much people are, taking advantage of whatever kind of resources you have available, like seeds and equipment and stuff. Yeah, cool. Yay, you got metrics. Cool. Yeah, that's actually all of my questions for today. We got through that fast.
Okay, cool.
But maybe we could just talk a little bit more just generally, or if you had anything in particular you're thinking about with this right now you want to discuss.
Well, just so another idea that we talked about more in Uprooted and Rising, but something I'm wanting to work towards is establishing tool libraries for growing supplies. And it would be so beautiful if those could be like at existing public libraries. So you could go to like your local library and rent a tiller with your library card. And things like that. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily have to be part of this. I think it would like ideas like that are like other things that I would like to see grown within the network, and we wouldn't necessarily like have to hold them like as an organization to like push through, but as like, you know, a way to connect people to do things like that. And that's something I would, you know, really like to see regardless.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, I wonder about that, and also like, I mean, I've heard that seed banks aren't necessarily the best thing because sometimes the seeds that people bring back and put in, like they haven't taken the care that's necessary to like save the seeds correctly. So they might either be crossbreeds that really aren't good to grow, or they might be you know, like not dried enough and they get moldy, you know, like people don't always know how to save seeds well enough to necessarily keep that system going, functioning smoothly. But something like that, I mean, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like the education would need to be an important component of it. Because like, and I feel like that would also be like, you know, a whole section I feel like we could have on the website about seed saving, because you know it can be different for different seeds, and like I don't know how to save those seeds. I would just like Google it and just assume I would do it wrong. But then like sometimes it can like be like, oh, it's easy, and then it is not. And you know, you have like sugar crystals and your watermelon seeds, or you know, like whatever. So yeah, I feel like having why I think it's also important that the website would be first is like the hope is that we could like provide a lot of education and empowerment and connection, and then that like network is there, and then it would be, I hope, much more doable to grow a distribution network out of that, and then much more doable to grow a network of cooperative grocery stores out of that. Well, and a network of
if your organization is kind of a hub of resources that people could use, that would include, you know, not only.
You're very quiet for me all of a sudden, Jacki.
Just a second.
I think your mic switched.
I can fix it. Sorry, the volume on my microphone drops. I forgot to have that open. Okay. Okay, so I was saying, yeah, that your organization could provide, not only like instruction and resources on just growing food itself, but on organizing people around growing food. It could be like cooperative organizational structures, you know, or like how to start a community garden, like more than just kind of a simple how-to, but like here's a particular structure that you can use for a garden, like with all the details worked out so that somebody could just replicate that. And the same with a grocery store, you know, like if you had a replicable system that's been tested, that you could be providing that and providing support for people to replicate it. So like your organization doesn't necessarily have to be all of the grocery stores. You're just like providing the like the format or the information on how to do it.
Yeah.
And then
And
people
also
started in
the
their own
like
local communities. Sorry.
exactly. And I feel like a lot of empowerment just from connection,
Mm-hmm.
because it can be really isolating to try to start something that doesn't exist yet in your
Mm-hmm.
community. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that can be put off for a long time if you feel like you're the only one. Like when I first got involved in food justice in Oklahoma, it was like 10 years ago, and I was like, I'm the only one who knows about all these things, and that is obviously not true. Like now I know people who've been doing this work for like 30, 40 years here,
Mm-hmm.
and I just didn't know that they were there. And then have found more and more information over the years, but like even like the Oklahoma Black Historical Research Project, they do a small farms conference twice a year, and like I just found out about them last November from a person who I met in Philadelphia. So like I would love to have and like I would love to have like their organization, all of these other organizations that like took me years to happen to have the opportunity to connect with, to like have in one place, so that more people can connect more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that through that connection there can be so much empowerment and like things that I haven't even thought of yet and probably won't think of.
Mm-hmm.
But like I could help two other people connect, and then they think of something that I wouldn't have thought of that would be really helpful to the system and to the community.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like what you're talking about is actually really similar to what my other client, Isaiah, is coming up with. Sorry, I just realized that my screen is a little bit off. Let me see if I can fix that. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Okay. I'm being a perfectionist. I need to stop. Yeah. So Isaiah Earth, who I've been working with, I don't know if you got to watch any of the videos with him.
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, I think he's working on the exact same thing you are. So, yeah, I mean, he's in LA, but he's also got locations in Mississippi and Uganda. But he's like trying to start this whole network that is, supporting community gardens, cooperatives, networking people and providing them with the resources to create food sovereignty. And that's the words that he uses too. So, yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if you could work together or at least kind of bounce off of each other ideas on how to do this. Because, yeah, I mean, I think that what you're talking about is needed, and at the same time, like, not everyone needs to reinvent the wheel of doing the same thing. Like, and I feel like there's probably some people out there already doing it. So, I want to find the most efficient way to make it happen.
There's I guess I don't know, two other organizations to look at. There's one called Feed Iowa First, that I feel like is I mean, it's like connecting farms and community gardens, and then also like wanting to like then source that food locally to people in Iowa, because like the idea is that like there's so much food grown in Iowa, but there's a lot of hunger in Iowa, and so it's around like wanting to make sure that all the people in Iowa are fed first before like all of this food is exported. And they also have like, I mean, you can like sign up to be like a Grow Don't Mow sponsor, so you just like offer your yard to like grow some seeds, things like that. And then Cooperation Jackson in Mississippi is does, I mean, and they're like not just looking at food, like a lot of cooperative economic things, and structures that support one another. So I mean, I feel like that's the future. So I hope that more people are working on it. I would love to learn. I'm not really looking to connect like a system outside of Oklahoma at this point, because I feel like, I don't know, I'm more attracted to like the Feed Iowa First model or the Cooperation Jackson model, because it's like just
Local.
focused on that immediate locality and like perfecting that. And then you can, I mean, like, you know, it'd be great to like through Uprooted and Rising and like other means, I feel like I do connect with, you know, people throughout US and around the world.
Yeah.
But in terms of practice, I feel like what I'm looking to do is more just like immediately local.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially if you're really wanting to focus on providing, you know, access, because like, yeah, when you're working on a larger scale, all you can really do is just provide information. You can't necessarily actually like drive your car and bring them a tiller. Like, you know, like you want to create a network where you're focused on, you know, meeting people's immediate needs, like physically, like actually helping them connect to physical resources, not just information, not just a list. Yeah. I feel like that's needed. Stuff like the tool library, you know, that kind of thing is really needed. I also feel like what's needed is really more directed information. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but like often you'll go to these websites and it's just like, it's a laundry list of stuff, or it's just like, it's a repository. It's a dump of lots of information. And there's like so much information that you don't even know what to do with it, you know, and I think most people feel overwhelmed. But if you had it like set up more in a structure where it's like, okay, what track do you want to go down? How do you want to be involved in the local food movement? Do you want to just be a consumer? Okay, well, here's a track for you. And all of the consumers go through the same track where they learn this, and then they learn this, and then they learn this, and they take it off in little bite-sized chunks. And it's the information that they need to know when they need to know it to become more and more involved, you know. But if you want to like, you want to be a grower, okay, here's the information you need to know first, and then this, and then, you know, like courses, or like just in a series of emails, or, you know, but like feeding people information and providing them with some structure around it, and not just giving them like, you know, a website with 500 different sources on it. Here, your sound just stopped. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. And I'm also wanting the website to have an interactive map, which is something I'm already starting to work on with a professor at OU. And I feel like that can be an important component too of like grounding people where they are, and you know, being able to go over the map and be like, okay, these people are here, and this is where they deliver, this is where they, you know, whatever, and get those creative wheels turning as well.
Yeah, but I feel like that's almost like a homework assignment or something you give people. It's like, okay, well, look at this map, find the people around you, say hello to at least 3 of them. Okay, now step 2. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little bit more needed than just another list of resources. And then even like building up to some sort of like a certification, or I don't know if that's the right thing, but different levels maybe of engagement depending on how much of that you've completed. Like you could get to a level where you could just be like more involved once you've completed certain steps.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what that might look like in terms of incentives, or I mean like because like I want anyone to be able to just plug in. I don't want it to be like a status thing, but I also want there to be like some celebration when someone like is able to, you know, pass a milestone and like something that we can like celebrate together. And I feel like having some kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I want to say ritual. I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like passage of time to be like, you
like
know,
a graduation to a new level or something. And like, yeah, I get the inclusivity, but I think I've seen too many organizers go too far on the inclusivity, and then they end up with just a bunch of people who will show up once and want to like tell you what to do, and then they disappear, you know? So
yeah. And wanting, I mean, I want people to feel appreciated for their work, to feel like to feel reciprocity also. And I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I would want to explore it a little more. I don't know if, the like status or whatever is like, you know, just trying to think of, like ways to celebrate it and also make room for like, if people have been in the organization for a long time, I would want to see them like mentoring people who are newer to the organization and connecting with people who are newer to the organization and helping them feel connected. And building that like intergenerational relationship, both in terms of like the organization and then like actually intergenerational in terms of age.
Yeah, but you have to have people like step into that role of being a mentor, which would require, you know, at least being in for a certain amount of time, but, you know, completing certain things, contributing a certain amount.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not just about like, look at me with my cool status. It's like earning a place.
Yeah. But I feel like, like the place I would want to see earned is like a mentor status as opposed to like, you are 3rd tier status.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like
same thing. Like, there's a certain point you can be at where you can come like work trade, as in you can shadow me and help me out if I'm gardening. But if I'm going to like let you show up at, you know, like not just a community garden like the one we have, but like something that's producing food to sell. Like if I want somebody to show up when I'm not there and take care of my plants and not kill them, you better as hell believe I want them to have completed at least a, you know, training, you know, for me to teach them how. Like you gotta step people into stuff.
Yeah. And so that, and that would be a really good, that would be a really good way to have effective volunteers, or even like effective like workers, like if farmers are looking for someone for like a particular task,
right,
that could be a good way to plug in our like larger network.
Right. And
I
if
really
you
like
have
that idea.
kind of a training system in place, then you know your volunteers or whatnot, you know, I mean, you can have different like tiers of volunteers, and the ones who just come every once in a while, and then there's the ones who hold roles where they're really held accountable to complete, you know, things over a longer period of time or whatnot. And you know, if you give them a training to let them get into that, you know, role, then you can put all sorts of stuff in there that would be teaching them stuff about, you know, what's regenerative and how to run an organization that's equitable, and you know, like how Natural Grocers does with their training. Like they're teaching us the values behind the organization, not just how to check people out at the register. So in the same way, you can do this and get everybody on the same page about your values. so everyone's working together,
Yeah.
in that direction. So yeah. But if you're doing that just for like, the food distribution system, I mean, what I would like to see is some training programs to train people to be like regenerative farmers or to start cooperatives or, that sort of thing. And whether that's specifically a part of your organization or just something that someone like me could plug into to provide through your organization, like that's kind of an area that I'm interested in being involved in, is providing those kinds of trainings.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Yeah, we're almost out of time. So anything else you want to say before we end? Anything else about your mission, purpose, vision?
I don't think so. I'm really looking forward to developing it more. And I think, I don't know, I really appreciate your questions. I feel like it's filling in a way that I appreciate. And I'm excited to see what will be next.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Thank you for coming. Thank you for anybody who's watching this. And if you want to join the Regenerative Revolution, you can join it on Patreon and make a contribution and be kind of part of the team and see behind the scenes. And I post in there about the process and like who I'm working with and how things are going and how I can enroll other people in working with me. And if you want to see all that behind the scenes stuff, I do that on my Patreon page. And we'll see you next time. I'm not sure if I'll be streaming on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook or all three. We'll see how this turned out. Okay. I'm gonna go look at the recordings and see if it worked. I might have to just pick one platform, but this is all a big experiment. So yeah. Sorry if I was a little distracted looking around trying to see if it was working.
It's all good.
I'll get it down eventually. But okay, thank you, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.